I'm LJ.
And I'm Win.
And today we're going to talk about the Acolyte. All right, so first we're going to talk about what we liked about it, because on this channel we start with positives first in a non-toxic environment. So we're not just going to bash the Acolyte like most other channels on the internet. So what did you like? What are some positives from the show?
I thought it was really cool that we saw a crystal bleed for the first time.
Yeah, I also had that as one of mine. I wanted to ask you, because he is much more of a Star Wars fanatic and lore expert than I am. So for this video, it is mostly going to be me talking about things that I think are cool and him telling me what any of it means. I have seen a lot of Star Wars content, but I am not very, I don't know, deep dove into I don't know how to phrase that. But no, people seem to be comparing that to Anakin and when his saber turned. So Osha's saber seemed to turn pretty easily, as opposed to Anakin did a lot of bad deeds before his saber turned. I don't know if any of that's true.
We didn't actually see him with a saber when he was turning to Vader.
Do we know when it happened?
I mean, in the comic books, it's like a long lore. Like the Emperor sent him out to like get it and all this stuff.
Oh, it seems too much.
Yeah, it was like a whole thing, but we still never in visual media of other than
when
comics,
exactly happens.
This is the first time we've seen that.
Because I think that a lot of people have been talking about how it took Anakin a while for that to happen, and people seem peeved that with Osha it happened like the first.
If anything, I feel like that would be better for Anakin, because like it took harder time to get him to turn fully to the dark side.
Yeah.
As far as we know, Osha's just weak and went straight to it because it was easy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really care. I just thought that it was a really cool moment because, to my knowledge, that's never happened on screen before.
No, it hasn't. It was really cool to see. And because I was always curious, like, okay, well, would it like slowly go up the saber? Or how does it look?
Well, you were right. It slowly went up.
Yeah, it was cool. But, it was very visually pleasing.
I thought as soon as it fell on the ground and we could see the kyber crystal through it, I thought that was intentional. So I thought something was going to happen with it. I wasn't quite sure what.
That was also cool, just to be able to see
the kyber crystal through the saber.
Yeah, like down the barrel.
Yeah,
it was neat. You could see directly into the crystal.
I mean, I really liked it. I think that that's one of my top scenes from the entire show. I also thought that the fight scenes in general were pretty good on this show. I think that for me, they've been the fight scenes that I've liked most in any Star Wars content. And I've seen almost all Star Wars content. Like I've said, I'm not an expert.
The Obi-Wan Anakin battle in episode 3 was really cool. But I mean, this was just as cool, I thought. The battles in this.
Yeah, the fight choreography for this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. In Star Wars, sometimes I have a tendency to get bored and look away. But especially like when episode 5 hit and all of the fight scenes were happening.
Yeah,
like
that was cool.
I didn't look away. It held my attention.
And I love his little dagger saber.
I do too.
Like that was cool. Like it's a cool take on the double saber, and you twist off and you have 2 sabers.
Well, we had a lot of single sabers, and so we just kind of kept adding a saber on different ends. So I didn't know where they were going to go next with that.
Yeah.
But no, I liked that, and I liked how he didn't use it a lot, so it meant more.
Yeah, it was just really neat,
and he was good with it. I also liked how the show showed that the balance between Jedi and Sith isn't black and white.
Yeah, I liked that too, because like the twins, I don't know, I'm looking probably a little too deep into it, but
that's what this is for. Go for it.
They kind of mimic the Jedi and Sith, where one started as a Jedi and then went to a Sith, and then the Sith went to a Jedi, so they overlapped each other. And so that's kind of like.
But if it's easy for them to swap, then there's a lot of gray area going on.
Exactly, and I thought it was cool, kind of to me. thinking more philosophically into it, they kind of represent the Jedi and the Sith in general, how we explored through this episode. Because the Jedi did some really crappy things, but they're supposed to be the good guys. And then, what's the Sith's name in this?
Which one?
The
Smiley.
Yeah,
Hold on, I'll Google.
the one from The Good Place.
Hold on, let me double check.
But anyway, the main Sith guy, his big monologue of
Premier.
yes,
Premier.
his big monologue about how he just wants to be and like why did the Jedi get to dictate it and stuff. That gives a very gray tone to the Sith and like just
There's a negative stigma on him. Well, he's done some crappy stuff.
I mean,
but
yeah,
there's a negative stigma on him because he exists, because he has access to the Force, but he is not a Jedi.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it really makes you think about the Sith. Like, they're also a religion too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they do bad stuff, but who is it to the Jedi to say what they can do versus?
Very much mirrors real life. What else do you have positive? Let's say we've talked about all of mine. I just enjoyed the show in general. I don't have this on here, but I really liked May's outfit from the first episode. Like, I know a bunch of people bashed it on the internet, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was different. I thought that it looked more old timey.
Yeah, that's what
because of like the bamboo and
I don't personally loved her outfit at the end, the gray sleek. It didn't really fit for me. It was
didn't feel like retro.
Yeah, at the time. So
seemed like modern Star Wars.
Yeah.
So that I think that there was more,
but I wouldn't want it.
I would wear it too.
In that time frame, I would want that style.
I think that there was more thought put into the first costumes of, okay, what is the goal of the Acolyte? And then by the time they got to the end, they were like, okay, how can May just look like or how can Osha and May look like a Star Wars character?
Yeah.
But no, I kind of like the earlier outfits better.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
So what do you think didn't quite stick the landing for this show?
Well, for one, Plagueis. I know that's contradicting to everything you see online. Everybody's freaking out that you saw him, which I'm excited that I saw him in live action. Yeah. That's awesome. I love to see it because it just adds more to the lore and like this is solidified as like canon. But could you actually give me a scene with him? Like he's just cowering in a cave hole. Like
yeah, I will say that I think that the last two cameos for this show, while they were cool, I don't think that they were very meaningful. Like the Yoda one, I can forgive because it clearly sets up this is canon. Like Vernestra is his Padawan, and like
side tangent. That just makes me think that Yoda knew about the Sith around all along. In episode 1, 2, and 3, when they were like, "Oh, there hasn't been a Sith and blah blah blah." I feel like they knew.
Was that blah 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 during the time of the Acolyte?
No, but the Acolyte takes place before those.
Yeah, but if they're saying there hasn't been a Sith since blah blah blah.
Yeah, but the time frame that they say in that line, because I forget the exact time frame, would have went further in the past than the Acolyte. Because the Acolyte only takes place 100 years before episode 1.
Maybe they weren't Sith. Close.
Oh no, that was just a side tangent. But the Plagueis stuff, like if you're gonna show a character, don't just be like, oh, here's a clip of him real quick. Like actually have a scene with him to give us a little something so it doesn't seem like you're just pandering.
I mean, I think that I half appreciate that cameo for people that know like Legends lore and all of that stuff. I think that when you're making these things, though, that you have to consider the audience that doesn't know the deep cuts. And so how can you pull them in to show that this is a special thing rather than some creepy cave guy in the back? Like if they planned on doing a season 2 with the Acolyte, doing more with that, okay, maybe, but I don't think they did enough with him to show that he was important for the story going on. It was very much just sprinkled over the top. Like, if it wasn't there, it would have been the same.
Yeah,
like the show would have been exactly the same.
I'm just getting sick of like, oh, here's a character, splash for 2 seconds. If you're gonna do it, do it. Don't make us wait for the next season or the next movie. Okay, fine. We'll still be excited about the next movie because you just gave us a clip with this dude, and we want to see how good he is in the next thing.
Well, I would be interested to see more with Renestra and Yoda, which it seems to set up. But for him, I don't feel like it was setting up anything.
No.
If anything, like, people that know Star Wars lore, like, is it just to make people think, oh, the rule of 2, now do one of them have to be destroyed?
Yeah.
Like, what, isn't it like there can only be 2 Sith at a time?
Yeah. There's one Padawan and then there's one teacher. But I don't know. I still just think the show, like, they could have easily been like, oh, Plagueis learned how to bring people, spawn people from the Force through this witch.
Maybe Osha doesn't count.
Or did the witch learn it from him, and he's just some creepy dude that hangs around in the caves of the island? Like, who learned it from who? Like, you could have simply given us that little bit of information with him in a scene, and it would have hit much more, and we would have been still excited for another season.
Yeah. Well, going back to Vernestra, I thought that one thing that didn't quite stick the landing, I thought that her lightsaber whip was cool. But I think that if you're going to draw the parallels into Manny Jacinto's character and show that he got whipped, like, on his back, I think that we needed to see her use it more.
Yeah.
Like, this show had a lot of, it's almost like the actual details of the show were Easter eggs, but they shouldn't have been.
Yeah. I don't like the whip anyway.
Like, if
I think it looks stupid.
I like it. So going on to more things that we didn't quite think stick the landing, I was really excited for the witches.
Yeah, I did really like the witches.
And I think that the witches fell flat a little bit. I think we needed to explore that a little bit more specifically about what the Force Virgins actually is. And because it seemed like May and Osha could have been the Force Virgin, like, or it could have been the tree. Like, it wasn't very clear what was going on. And just the significance of anything going around, and were Osha and May separated from one being, or were they both created, or like,
are they twins? Are they one person?
It's like Saul tried to get there and then stuff happened, or like something was, like, a scene was cut.
And we've never seen like Anakin bring anything to life, because that part where they said the planet came back to life when the emergence happened, when they were born. Like, are we adding to that? Because are we going to get some material with Anakin doing something like that at some point and backtrack to make it canon? Because that was weird.
Perhaps not. Well, maybe it's different parts.
And is that the point of the Virgins? Like, there has to be a purpose for it other than just making life.
It keeps making Siths, so but maybe we just need to stop doing it. And then I think the last couple of parts is, I think that the writing for a couple of the characters could have been, I don't want to say stronger, I want to say different decisions could have been made to make you care about the characters more. Like, by the time Saul died, I didn't care that he died, because we had just seen how crappy of a person he was. And also,
well, I think that was to try to get us to be back on the Jedi side for when she goes on lies about him and stuff to cover.
But that just made us less on the Jedi side. So that was a problem for me. And then also with Star Wars, a lot of the draw is like the droids, and the only droid that we had was Pip. And I don't know, what was the second or third episode, Pip was reset. So any connection that we had to Pip, I just passed that. I just didn't care. I don't like that. They reset him.
I don't think Pip ever got fixed, did he?
No.
He's just this little evil
droid. He just got rebooted. So he doesn't have that connection to Osha anymore. So that's why he has that connection to May.
I just thought about that. Like, wait, he never got put back the way he was. So he's just a jerk droid now.
Well, it doesn't matter, because May doesn't remember OSHA either.
I always hate
Um,
when droids get like abandoned and stuff. It makes me sad.
He did, and you'll just be sad forever now. So we already talked about the cameos. Do we think that there will be a season 2?
I mean, I hope so. I don't know though, because Star Wars is such a wild card right now on what we get and what we don't get. Like we keep getting things, but then people keep crapping on them and they don't make more.
Yeah. I think it's clear that they planned for a season 2 when they made this season. I think given all of the toxicity around the show, that there's a big chance that we won't get a season 2, which is sad because it's the only time that we'll get to see kind of this era. Because I also have what's confirmed next for Star Wars, and nothing is even close to the era of the Acolyte. On
that note, though, I would love to have seen them like use the twins for the Sith to have infiltrated the Jedi more, and Sith was actually among the Jedi and they didn't know more. Like we could have saw that more.
Well, if we set that up, we might not see it pay off because I doubt we'll get a season 2.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's going to be a lot of dropped plot from the Acolyte to try to please toxic people on the internet.
It's 100 years ago, so it's not like it's relevant anyway.
If only that were true. But yeah, confirmed next for Star Wars, we have the Young Jedi Adventures coming in August, which
I don't even watch that.
Yeah. Skeleton Crew, supposed to be for 2024, but we don't really have a release date from that. Andor Season 2, Ahsoka Season 2, The Mandalorian and Grogu movie for 2026. We have Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie in development, but nothing's been said to what it's about. James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie, which is supposed to be like way before the Acolyte, so that's not really relevant to this. Dave Filoni's Mandoverse New Republic movie, which is separate from his Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but that movie is supposed to tie in like all of the Disney Plus, like Ahsoka, Mando, Boba Fett. So that would be way in the future. And then there's, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, Charmin Obaid Chinoy's new Jedi Order movie. And then again, that's nowhere around the Acolyte. So it seems like we're going to get...
And that with Rey, that last one.
Yeah, that one is the continuation of Rey's story.
Which I'm not a crazy fan of the newest ones, but they're fine. I am interested to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me is they're going to take all of the wrong messages from the pullback on this show. So I think that everything that did make Rey great, I'm worried that they're going to overcorrect.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I enjoyed the Acolyte. I enjoyed all of the content. But I don't want them to overcorrect and make it something where nobody can enjoy, to where people that are enjoying the current stuff and being positive and being grateful for what they have. I don't know. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But we have way before the Acolyte coming up, and we have way after the Acolyte coming up. So unless we get an Acolyte season 2, all of this stuff is just... We're going to forget that happened, I guess. But maybe that makes it special. Before we talk about random question of the day and your rating, do you have anything else to add on the Acolyte?
Just overall, I think it was pretty good. Like, there's a few nitpicky things, but not enough to really mention. And I overall liked it.
Same. So we do have a random question of the day. The random question for us is, if you had a lightsaber, what color would it be?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I want you to go first, because I want to see if you actually give a reason or if you just give a color, because I honestly don't know what I'm going to say to this.
We have seen a lot of new colors introduced here lately in Star Wars. It used to be, just the red, blue, green. Now we got orange and yellow, I believe, and then
are you
purple.
going to be basic, or are you going to mix it up?
I think I would love to introduce another new color and go with pink, because it also falls on that borderline of, is he Sith, is he Jedi? Because that's a very like associated with love and stuff, but it's also a red family member.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like that. You don't really know which way I'm going.
Well, I was gonna say fuchsia just because I like that color, but now I'm gonna try to pull a creative answer out of my. But yeah. I am going to say I would want a lightsaber that it's not a solid color; it bends the light around it, and so you would see the saber, but it would be like whatever the background is, it's morphing. Like it would be bright, like obviously because it
Needs to glow.
has to be light,
and you have to see it.
but it would be like light distortion. So almost clear. I don't know. Maybe I'm just describing a white lightsaber. I don't want that. If anything, I want it to be like distorted and I don't know, like sky blue.
Change a little bit.
Yeah. Or like one that refracts light to where if light is shining through it, it just has all the color.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to be special.
Okay.
Don't out me. All right. So overall, finishing up thoughts on the Acolyte. What would your rating be? We're gonna do out of 10.
10. I think I'm gonna go with an 8 out of 10.
Fair.
Some things I don't like about it, so that dropped the rating down. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'd want a season 2. I'd want to see more. So
that's true. I would like to see more. I thought that they did some really interesting things. And for the fight choreography alone, puts it up a couple of points for me just because it was so interesting to watch.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going quite as high as an 8 because I mean, for me, it's going to be a high grade for Star Wars just because I don't really have a lot of favorite Star Wars stuff.
Fair.
So I think I'm going to go 7. So 7 out of 8 for me. 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for me. 8 out of 10 for you. So that's not bad. That's
close.
I'll take it. But let us know what you thought of the Acolyte in hopefully a non-toxic way, or else I have to delete your comment.
And what color would you pick?
What color lightsaber would you pick? And would it be gay? I guess let us know in the comments below. And until next time, I'm LJ.
I'm Wayne.
And this is Bleeding Rain, whatever we call it.
Bleeding Rainbow.
Yes. And this is Bleeding Rainbow Comics. See ya.
Bye.